INTJs often walk through life with clarity about their goals, clarity about systems, on their outcomes. Everything is analyzed. But when it comes to emotion, this is where things can become a little bit quieter. And not because they lack depth, but because they operate in a world where emotion is private and sometimes invisible. INTJs lead with introverted intuition. This is an inward focus on patterns, long-term vision, and abstract understanding. Their second function is extroverted thinking. This is structured, results-driven. Everything is geared towards efficiency. And this is because they prioritize what works, what makes sense to them, what drives the needle, what moves the needle forward, so to speak. Their emotional world, however, is governed by introverted feeling. This is a function that values internal alignment, but it prefers to take a back seat and keep itself very private, very hidden. This can operate very slowly. It can operate very inwardly, sometimes without any words. And so this is where the INTJ disconnect can happen, their blind spot. INTJs can feel a great deal, right? They feel just like every other type feels. But without this visible expression, others may be unaware where they stand in relation to the INTJ. And in close relationships, this lack of expression may be costly because most people don't feel cared through thought alone. They need evidence. They need signals, words, presence. So an INTJ might retreat in these moments of emotional intensity. They need this space to think and to process. And, sometimes others, though, might interpret this as this sort of emotional absence when in reality, that's not the case at all. For the record, it's worth noting that INTJs are not relationship adverse. It's that emotional investment for them is a logical choice. An INTJ might look at a potential relationship and rather than thinking, wow, this could be so much fun, we could make so many memories together for these next few years, what they're thinking in reality is, okay, 3 years tops, and I'll probably come out of this feeling worse than when I had started this relationship. If they sense that a relationship will subtract in any negative way towards their mission and towards what they feel called to in life, they will immediately disengage and give that energy to those worthwhile pursuits. So INTJs, they don't fall in love like an ESFP, right? For them, falling in love it's a choice. Let's say they assume a potential relationship to be a net positive. They then will allow their emotions and their, intimate feelings to essentially have a seat at this table. And cognitively, this makes sense. Introverted intuition and extroverted thinking, the dominant and the auxiliary function, form a sharp forward-moving axis that is driven by clarity and structure. But introverted feeling, FI, doesn't surface easily. This is the function that is basically sitting in third place. And so what this means is that nothing is sugar-coated, right? The INTJ speaks exactly what is on their mind. Their language is very direct. It can come across as cold even. They will just tell you like how it is, and often may not consider the emotional nuance. And then SC, this is the extroverted sensing, this is the weakest function, can also add to this apparent complication, making it difficult for INTJs to stay grounded in the present moment, which is, of course, where emotional cues live and breathe. And so because of the way that they are set up, cognitively, this is why they will seldom act out of impulse or act out on a whim. And this is because it would be a suboptimal course of action. Most people don't put so much thought into their every action, but they do. And this is what can cause the INTJs to leave relationships, for things to end very, maybe sourly or badly. So, this is just how they They deal with much of their relationship problems the same way in which they deal with a lot of their, transactional problems, their business problems, their goals, things like that. And this is not a moral failing, right? This is just a structural gap, one that can be acknowledged and ultimately closed. In this shift, it begins with an awareness, because at the end of the day, man, INTJs feel very strongly about emotions, about values. But again, the feeling element is not extroverted, so it's not made known. You have to understand that FI serves as this moral change agent rather than this outward expressing, sort of persona. So I asked my INTJ friend, we've been like best friends since high school, just like kind of what he thought, some challenges for him, some basically what he felt was challenging for him in his relationships with this, and then some things that I asked him some things that he felt like he was good at. And this is what he said. So for challenging, our world consistently tells us that we are the main character, things seem to happen quick, life is about pleasure, and feelings are the only thing that matters. My brain doesn't work that way. It's very logic driven. That said, it doesn't mean I don't understand or pick up on emotion. I'm actually extremely adept at picking up other people's emotions, but I struggle with what I see as placating emotions if I do not believe those emotions to be valid given the circumstances. That doesn't make it right. That's just what comes naturally to me. I can also be perceived as cold or unhappy because I'm not naturally bubbly, etc. I need a partner who is okay with me being quiet or straight-faced without assuming I'm upset. I asked him then what he felt like he was good at. So these are some things that he said. I don't run from hard things or jump ship. Sounds cocky, but I'm the most loyal person I've ever met and won't leave unless I'm betrayed at the worst levels. Also a challenge because I expect that out of people, which isn't fair and sets me up to be let down. I'm consistent. Hard work has been instilled in me my entire life, so providing comes naturally. Protection has also been instilled in me, so it's very easy for me to be aware of surroundings and threats and make people feel safe without trying. So, yeah, man, I think he really nailed it. One thing that he mentioned here that, is worth bringing up is he mentioned this idea of commitment. INTJs will see things through to the end. They are ride or die. There's nothing casual about their approach to relationships, to their job, to their hobbies even. And so in a way, it's like you can't blame their hesitancy to rush into opportunities or to relationships because of who they are. Everything they set out to do or to accomplish must align with their internal values, or else it is a complete waste of time. Again, so they lead with introverted intuition. So everything, it must tie back into this overarching theme, this vision that they have for their life. And to be honest, man, I don't think INTJ should view this blind spot necessarily as a flaw of their personality, but instead a feature of it, right? As an INTJ, of course, you must learn to exercise vulnerability in relationships, being comfortable in the unknown, and realize that love is a game, dude. Love is a game, and it can be also a gamble at times. Not every relationship is going to work out the way that you want it to, and not every relationship that you think about is going to end in a bad way that you might think about. It's like you have to be careful not to overanalyze yourself to the point of stress to where you start to begin to think that something is wrong with you when there's nothing wrong with you. Conserve that energy to master your craft. And if you have to sift through 100 different connections to finally achieve resonancy with that one person or that handful of friends, then so be it. But never feel like you have to apologize for the way that you're wired, right? So that's what I would say, guys. Anyways, I hope this video helps. I hope it gives you more of an understanding if you're an INTJ just watching this, just kind of learning more about yourself. If you enjoy this, let me know. Feel free to drop a comment, give me a like. It helps me out quite a bit. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one.